What's up, everyone? Sergeant Clark here with Sergeant Clark's Trades. Just wanted to provide a short video this weekend about the importance of buying shares versus buying options contracts and the impact that it can have on the squeeze ultimately when it does happen. So when buying options contracts, everyone knows that it is, of course, a risk if those contracts don't get in the money and it basically expires worthless. So obviously that's one issue with options. It is a little more risky than just buying the shares, but there's also the chance to make a lot more money quicker with options contracts than with shares, because ultimately with shares you're waiting on that price to increase, whereas as the price increases your profits become, they accumulate a lot faster with an options contract. But the difference that it makes on the impact for the squeeze. So with an options contract, you're basically affecting the gamma squeeze down the road. But the impact that buying physical shares has is that it actually increases the problem for the hedge funds. It also increases the buying pressure that we have on those hedge funds, on the short sellers. And by buying these shares, whether you're buying one share, you're buying 10 shares, 100, whatever it is, most likely you're buying synthetic shares at this point. We know that there are a ton of phantom, synthetic, whatever you want to call them, shares on the market right now. And most likely the retail investors hold the majority of those shares. So when you're buying shares, you're likely adding to the hedge fund problem. It's going to take them longer to come out of this problem. It's going to take them a lot longer to buy their way out. And in my opinion, shares is definitely the way to go right now. It's going to have a greater impact on the squeeze. There are so many options contracts out there right now with June, I think it's June 28th, July 2nd, whatever it is, those kind of expiration dates. There are tons of contracts out there already. And, a lot of those people will likely end up in the money depending on where their strike prices are, but it also depends on where that's, when the squeeze actually starts, because nobody knows. But if you're buying shares right now, you're likely going to have a bigger impact on the actual short squeeze. You can push that, not necessarily kick the can further down the road. You're actually just making that can bigger for the hedge funds. You're causing more buying pressure to increase the likelihood that the price will go up and put more pressure on the hedge funds. And you're also continually adding to those synthetic shares, because what they're doing is they're just continually creating more fake shares, and we're continually buying more. And so once the share count, official share count, does come out, there's no telling where this thing is going to land. There's no telling how many synthetic shares are. And me personally, I'd rather hold those synthetic shares, hold more synthetic shares, because what that gives you the flexibility to do is not just sell all at one time like a lot of people are going to try to do. It gives you the chance to sell incrementally on those different spikes, because what we're going to see is continuous spikes up, pullback, spike up, pullback, to try and shake the paper hands, if that's what you want to call them. But what you can do is you can sell a few shares incrementally to lock in those profits on the way up. If you have 250 shares as your strong, say that's your stronghold, that that's your initial investment, and that's where you're at. Well, if you continually buy shares, and likely they're going to, like I said, be synthetic shares that they're going to have to buy back, you have those 250 shares that you can ride all the way up to whatever that high ends up being. Or you can even hold the other ones that long as well. It just gives you more ammunition to hold on to, so that when you do pull that trigger, you're maximizing your profits. Nobody knows how high this thing will go. It definitely has a ridiculous amount of potential. Just like all the other stocks, whether it's GME with a lower float, Naked, there's tons of them out there right now that have crazy short volume, that have a crazy amount of synthetic shares likely on the market. But AMC, in all the DD that I've done, all the research that I've looked into, is definitely the most heavily shorted stock. The float is a lot higher with that 450 million free float, but we're continually adding shares on the market daily by continually buying all these synthetic shares. And the more synthetic shares that are out there, the higher this will climb. And so I also encourage you, tell a friend, if every ape that we have right now, like I think the number was 3.2 billion shareholders that Adam Aaron had talked about before. If every one of those 3.2 million got one friend who invested, say, $100, $120, whatever it is, that's about 10 shares a piece for those people. That's another 30 million shares, or 32 million shares really, that are going to be flooding into the market worth of buying pressure. That's huge. That's likely going to be another 32 million worth of synthetic shares that are going to have to be bought back. So take the time, tell a friend about it, encourage them, obviously tell them this is, it's not investment advice. It's a recommendation based on what you see. Refer them to other YouTubers or Reddit DD, to show them what's going on, why you believe in what you believe in, why you have this conviction for it. And, if they sign up, awesome. If they buy shares, even better. It's only going to help the cause ultimately down the road, and it's going to help you. It's going to help them and whoever else, if they told another friend as well, it can just continually compound. So take advantage of it, tell somebody about it, encourage them, just continue to build this community, continue to buy, continue to hold, and y'all have a great weekend. That's all I've got for this video. Be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and we'll be back probably tomorrow with another video. Thanks.